Greetings, students, and welcome to 575. This course should be coming towards the end of your program, towards the very end of your program, and taken with your field experience course. They will complement each other. So it's kind of like, are you on the wrong train or a plane? Let's just make sure that you are in the right class because this is going to be a class that's going to be a co-requisite with your field experience. I am very excited about teaching this course because it puts together a lot of what you learned in your prior experience here at Rutgers, and it also introduces you to some very specific kinds of knowledge that you will apply into practice. In fact, a large part of this class should be about authentic learning experiences, and I'm hoping that the products that you create you'll be able to use in practice as well. Um, I want you to understand very early on that it's very important for me as your leader in this learning to form a community and to build relationships. And sometimes that's hard with an online class, but we're going to be looking for opportunities to connect with each other and with the larger library world all through the semester. In this class, we are going to look at management and leadership of a school library program. We will be meeting largely in Canvas, which is our learning management system. And if you're unfamiliar with Canvas, I will be sharing in my letter to you and also in other platforms links to tutorials that will help you get started. In terms of the structure of the course, it's divided into three major parts. Now, the first section sets the scene for managing a school library program by exploring the evolution of management, leadership, innovation, and change theory from, say, the 20th century through the early part of the 21st century. It will, I hope, introduce you to the way schools are managed as well as the way school libraries are currently managed. And it will include the introduction of some inspiring educators and leaders, as well as introducing you to patterns that you might recognize in large organizations and bureaucracies that we want to examine critically. The second section of our course involves studying the basic elements of a school library program. We're going to be looking at case studies, we're going to be looking at standards and guidelines documents, and we'll be looking at things like collection development and staffing and facilities and instruction, all the pieces that put together form a strong school library program. I am hoping that during the second part of the course, you will be productively building assignments one and two. You'll be starting them earlier, of course, but we'll be pulling the final pieces of those together um, in the second section of our course. And I'll tell you more about those assignments in a minute. Uh, we will be having discussions in our learning management system that will help you prepare those projects in a more thoughtful way. And the third section of our course looks at the critical and ethical issues that surround school librarianships and some opportunities for future ready and innovative practice. Whenever possible, we're going to integrate relevant technologies for discovering content, for curating materials, and for discussion and reflection. We'll be telling our stories and publishing them digitally. And the reason for all this is that I believe school librarians are leaders in school technology. And we play an important role in integrating technology, especially information and communication technologies, into the school program. And it is my goal to ensure that you hit the ground future ready. Um, so let me tell you a little bit about the assessments. Uh, in the first assessment, which is part of a strategic plan. So think about assignment one as part one of a larger strategic plan. So in assignment one, you're going to be looking outside of your school library. You're going to be creating an environmental scan of your community and your school. What are the influences? Who is in that community? Who were the stakeholders? What are you observing and doing a little digging into some research? What do you know about this community? So assignment one is 20 points, 20% of your grade, and it is an environmental scan. Assignment two would be the second part of a strategic plan, which is a needs assessment and an action plan, as well as there's three parts of this, a board presentation, which is going to be based on those first two elements. That will be a total of 35% of your grade, and we'll be checking in on this and giving each other peer review on a regular basis. So the first part is your needs assessment based on looking at your library in the context of the larger community. Was what is it that is just fine and perfect? What is it that needs improvement? And we'll look at that in some categories that we will explore during the class, like staffing and collection and technology and leadership. Um, so we'll look at that, and then you'll actually create a 3-year plan that's fully budgeted. And I'm hoping that this will be the basis of a type of plan that you can use in practice that will help the library in which you're living. And you may, if anything, if this course is like any of the other classes that I've had, some of you are already in practice. And so let's use this planning experience to actually improve a program. If you do not engage in planning, your program does not grow. And so you may not engage in formal strategic planning all the time, but you should engage in setting goals and objectives and trying to move a program forward. And then part three of assignment two is a board presentation. Pick three of the most important elements of your plan and tell the board, tell the school board you're presenting, grab their attention and make them participants, make them advocates in your goal setting, have them get behind you in your plan for positive change in your library. So aside part one of that would be the needs assessment. Part two of that is the action plan or strategic plan. And part three is the board presentation, and that's assignment two, 35%. Assignment three is another type of presentation. It's a workshop. It's a little different from a formal board presentation. You'll engage a chosen audience in learning actively about something that is near and dear to your heart. And you'll have an opportunity to pick your own topic or pitch one to me. You will plan learning activities as well as bits of introduction, a hook and a clincher, and you'll evaluate the success of your workshop. And again, all of this should be useful to you in practice. So make sure you select wisely and choose something that you'll be able to do, perhaps for a job interview. Perhaps you're already working with a faculty or a parent group. So that's your workshop, and that workshop is 25% of your grade. And then the remaining assessments are your class discussion, which is 10% of the grade, which is largely going to happen in Canvas. And then another 10% is participation activities, which will take place partly in Canvas, but largely outside. We'll also have some of our discussions happening in Flipgrid, which is a video platform. I will send you out on safaris to find things like annual reports and elements of great design or great library presentations. And we will also be meeting, and this is definitely not required, I'm just putting it in here because it's part of those outside platforms, synchronously on Tuesday nights if you're available. In any case, the participation and your participation in those other platforms, they will be 10% of your grade. And I really do hope that you'll find use of these platforms. I did forget to mention Padlet, which we'll be doing our reflections in. These are very typically used platforms in schools, and I want you to just be comfortable with them. And certainly they're just a smattering of the sorts of things you'll be using. And so class participation activities are 10% of your grade. As I mentioned, on Tuesday nights, I will be available for office hour drop ins, but I'll also often have some guests with me. So if you want to meet some of the movers and shakers in our field, there'll be a hangout schedule. And you can check it and see if you can join me. I think that the people who have participated in these before have actually connected and made long lasting professional relationships out of the friends they make, are giving generously of their time. I hope that you'll be able to visit some of them live. If we do have guests, I will try my best to archive. Hope that you will build your professional network through this course. You're going to be following major bloggers. You are going to follow hashtags on Twitter, particularly hashtag TL chat for teacher librarian chat. You can use that as a search. You don't have to follow it on a regular basis. And it is also, there's a feed to it in our LibGuide, and there'll be feeds to that in Canvas. Also, ISTE LIB hashtag is the ISTE librarians, who are very, very active librarians, International Society for Technology and Education. And our own class hashtag is hashtag RU575. Twitter has absolutely changed my life and made me more connected and enabled me to make incredible discoveries. And so, for those of you who are reluctant Twitter users, just use it as a search tool. But I think you'll be hooked on it soon in terms of its professional value and the social capital that you can develop in a platform like that. In addition, you're going to find in both in Canvas and as a Google Doc a checklist of our assignments and deadlines. You'll also see examples of previous work. I don't want you to use them as prescribed recipes for how to do a particular project. I love innovation. They're just to make you feel more comfortable and to give you some inspiration. So I hope by the time you finish this course, you will have a professional learning network. You will know what innovation looks like. I will be sharing lots of articles and playlists, and so you will have choices in terms of those as your readings, in addition to a text that I've selected for the course, which is you'll find details of that in the syllabus and in Canvas and my welcome letter. In addition, I will be pointing to some major documents that ALA has put out. I believe that you will get out of this course what you put in. If you read just the basics, you'll get just the basics. If you stretch a little bit and try to read a little bit more or view a little bit more in our playlists, I think you're going to get a lot out of them. I will prompt you to make decisions. You will not read or view the entire playlist. You will pick based on your interests. Are you an elementary type person? Are you middle school or high school? Are you not sure yet? Pick the suggested number of items and do a little exploring. I want these things to be meaningful to you. I've mentioned throughout this video that we have a LibGuide, and that LibGuide, the purpose of that is not to give you yet another platform to explore, but to support you, and also to let you know that the material that I share will be available to you long after you graduate, and I will continue to share news and resources on this LibGuide, so you'll be able to visit it. It will include resources like how to find copyright friendly materials, and I'm hoping that you will respect copyright and also push your fair use muscle, and we'll talk more about that through the course. One of the things that I feel is really important is that you recognize that you are not alone. I know that everybody has a different history with technology, everybody has a different professional experience. If you're encountering any trouble at all, please do not struggle alone. Give it a try, but reach out through email. We'll set up a web chat or a phone chat, and I guarantee you we can fix any problem in 5 or 10 minutes. and I don't want to think about you struggling. So I'm hoping that you're going to find this semester practical, valuable. I hope that we'll inspire each other. It is my goal to have you and to welcome you into a profession that I've loved for nearly 40 years. And I want you to go out there and make a difference in the lives of children. So, welcome again. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Canvas and all around the geography of our course.